Hey everyone, welcome back to Strictly Casual. Today we are very excited to announce that we're going to be reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. The 4 hour epic has been released, and let's just say it's a masterpiece, at least in my opinion. I am joined by some of my awesome friends and former co hosts from other shows here at Strictly Casual, Vincent DeSantis and Ryder Maldonado. I am so excited to have these boys with me because we're going to be dissecting the crap out of this 4 hour epic. Let's get into it.
Mhm.
First and foremost, boys, I want to know what was your first emotion as soon as the credits start rolling. What are you feeling, and what are your initial thoughts, Ryder?
I think for me, I was very satisfied, but also left wanting more. Surprisingly, those who know, this is a spoiler. We're getting into spoilers, right? Like heavy spoilers and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Heavy spoilers throughout this whole thing, so just be prepared.
Okay.
You've been
So
warned.
heavy spoilers. It ends with a lot of a cliffhanger, setting up a third Justice League film that Zach wanted, and I felt that they do a really good job of setting it up and hyping it up, and so I was left satisfied because of the fan service that Zach has given us throughout the whole 4 hour film. There's a lot of fan service and a lot of moments that I wanted, as well as there was a lot of things that I didn't expect. Secret cameos and a lot of build up with extra scenes that left me wanting more. So I was like, oh man, but it was satisfying overall.
That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Vincent.
I when the credits started rolling, I was like, "Oh man, Zack Snyder actually did it." Like it is better than the Justice League for sure. It definitely to what Ryder was saying, it makes me excited for the future of DC, which I had never really got before in any of the other DC movies. I wasn't excited for the next one. I just kind of watched it. This makes me excited for what they could have. Um, I will say this movie has tons and tons of issues. Like it's no masterpiece to me for me at all, but it's so much better than Justice League, and it's such a
Right.
good time. I had such a fun time watching it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And personally, like, I've been a big Justice League fan ever since I was a kid. I saw the Whedon version and I watched this one, and personally I'm in the same boat. This one is 10 times better, like if not 100 times better,
Yeah.
because it's just like it took every element that you would want in that first movie, and then they like got rid of all the boring stuff. Like they got rid of Aquaman sitting on the lasso kind of coming out and
Yeah.
being all kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm insecure. They took that away,
Mm.
made him more hardened. What I loved about this movie is they spent a lot more time on certain characters like Aquaman, like Cyborg, and even fleshing out some of these side characters that you only see for a little bit. Like even the cameo by Commissioner Gordon is so beautiful in this
Yeah.
like whole movie. It's a moment, but it's just like, wow, I love the his whole character design, and it's like you get the payoff that you
Hmm.
saw like a screen grab all those years ago of J.K. Simmons sitting next to the bat symbol, and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
Right.
finally see it in action, and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is awesome. That's really cool. I'm glad that you guys overall had a very positive experience with the whole thing. Moving on to the story elements, we'll start here with myself. Personally, I think that the story of this 4 hour epic reminded me a lot of like one of those movies that has to be played out in two parts. Although this is played
Yeah.
out in four parts, it is so like engaging throughout the whole thing. Like it honestly made me feel like I didn't want to look at my phone, and I think I looked at my phone like two or three times
Mhm.
when Lois Lane was really like depressed, because I was just like, I get it,
When
Lois,
she's
you're sad
moping,
that
yeah.
Superman's gone. And so
Damn, I
those
like
were the
that.
I get I hear you, but those are the only moments where I was just kind of like disengaged, because I
Yeah. Yeah.
knew, I get it, so he's gonna come back eventually. But the actual return of Superman was so
Oh,
well thought out.
amazing.
Get the
Yeah.
mother box, bring him back, and then the vision sequence with Cyborg, right as he's gonna do it, the Kryptonian ship is like, this isn't a good idea. And the exploration of Barry Allen in this movie is
Cool.
just so awesome. Like if I had to call out a scene, and this is what I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite scene? There were several that I loved. My favorite scene, though, however, was Barry Allen bringing in reality as he stepped foot by foot
Dude,
with the
time
reality
travel,
being
baby.
created.
Time
I was
travel,
like,
man.
wow, this is
Hmm.
amazing. It was so beautiful. So that was my personal favorite scene. Vincent, what about yourself? What was your favorite scene? And what
Well,
did you think of the overall story?
and speaking of the story, you nailed it on the head. You said this version is so much more engaging. The last one feels like it relies on fight scenes to carry you from scene to scene, and the fight
Right.
scenes were like mediocre at best in Justice League. And this one, they really emphasize the edit on the characters, and that's what's driving the story in this. And I will say, not all the characters are good. I'm happy they fleshed out Cyborg more and stuff like
Hmm.
that. A lot of these characters are still like super one note to me and not dynamic or deep. But what the stuff they added is so much more engaging to watch and to like follow
Right.
them on the journey. Especially that Superman moment when he comes back. I feel like that was not earned in the theatrical cut, and so
Oh,
it felt
yeah,
really
yeah.
good when he came back in this one. I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
okay.
this is sick. This is
Mhm.
dope." Um, favorite scene though, I would say I was very surprised to see Martian Manhunter appear when
Mhm.
Martha was
And the
talking with
end too, yeah.
Lois, and yeah, I thought that was super cool reveal. I had no expectation of Martian Manhunter being in this, so I was like, "Oh, that was dope."
That's
Um,
awesome.
other than that, I really liked the older fight. It was the big fight with Darkseid. I thought
Oh,
that was
yeah,
so
Dark
the
well
side,
done.
Flash
yeah,
begin,
With
yep.
yeah.
Darkseid, yeah. It was the one where they're on Themyscira, or that's the place, right?
I think
Themyscira,
well,
like
it was
way
Yeah,
yeah, it
back.
was
yeah.
here on Earth, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
it was
sick.
Earth, and it was just like you got all
Right.
the old gods, you got the
Yeah, that's right.
lanterns, you got the Amazonians. What I loved about that last battle is they defeated Darkseid, you
Yeah,
Yeah,
know, and it's
they
like,
did.
oh wow, the stakes have been raised for this
Mhm,
mega villain to kind of have a vendetta against this world, and I
mhm.
think it set up such a great storyline for the next 3.5 hours. Very beautifully set up by Zack Snyder. Ryder, what are your thoughts on the story?
For me, hands down, my favorite scene of all time in this whole film forever, no, is the Flash time travel scene, because I personally love the Flash, I think, more than any other DC character. He's tied with Batman, but Flash, I love
Right.
time travel, and I love how he can break the Speed Force and just he's like, I can't control it, and he just goes through and he breaks the time, which I thought when he was spinning around, he was gonna like accidentally do it, but of course it was planned, and he was like, Dad, I gotta do it, and he's talking to his dad through the Speed
hmm
Force, which so beautiful, and of course the CGI looked great. Another scene for me is, of course, is the Superman return. I think all the scenes of Superman and him with Lois in Kansas, I think with the fixed CGI, and I think with the atmosphere, everything's fixed. So I thought it was gonna be like, oh, I'm worried. Is it gonna look cringy? Is it gonna look weird, like awkward of him returning? And with the fight with him with the other Justice League members, like I thought that was gonna be dumb. It was amazingly executed. I think there's a lot of good moments of to showcase his powers, like his super speed, and then all this cool stuff. But yeah, I think story overall, because it was broken up into 6 parts, I think it was able to, oh man, you get what this part is about, and you get a whole little story in there, cool. And I
Right.
think it helped Zach to really edit the whole thing better. And I think it was, I was engaged the whole time. I wasn't bored. I was in it. It went by the 4 hours.
I would just want to add on to that. What I loved about Barry Allen is you see how intense his power is. He
Yeah,
missed both times the actual time of when he was supposed to touch the mother
yeah.
box and then when he's supposed to touch Cyborg. And you see it when the mother
Mhm.
box is
Yeah,
dipped into the
that was
water. He
weird
actually controls it and
Yeah.
brings it back
because he went so
just so he
fast.
could
Yeah,
touch it
yeah,
just right before. And he's controlling time at that moment.
yeah,
You see, it's just
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
so beautiful the way it shows these little moments in like the DCEU, like
Hmm.
it was just the best type of delivery, or even with Iris, like that little
Oh
sequence. I think
yes.
It's
I
a good
think
sequence.
Barry
Yeah, it's
Allen's
cool.
introduction into this movie was just like my favorite out of any other
Hmm.
character. He's applying for a job and he's looking at the girl and she's super cute. He's eyeing her, and then she's about to crash, and it's like
I
the
gotta go.
freaking the shoes blowing up, and then like the electricity of
Oh
everything. Like
man, no.
it was so exciting. I absolutely love that.
Do you guys
Moving.
like Ezra Miller as Flash?
After this movie, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, this guy!" Like, they just put
He
a funny guy. But I
he
don't know.
feels pretty out of place to me.
I'm slowly
Really.
getting into it. I
Yeah.
want to see what this Flash movie, to really
Right. Yeah,
like
yeah.
love him. But yeah, I'm a little mixed. I'm like, he feels like kind of out of place. But I'm also like, wow, he feels a little more genuine in this one.
Sure.
Well,
I guess
he
my problem is he feels old, like older, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
trying to play like a young, like
I'm out of
it
college.
seems
In
like a
college.
like immature kind of guy, but
right.
I don't know. It's just a weird vibe to me.
Okay.
But
He de-
I
he,
love his
he
sequences.
he definitely plays like an immature, like kind of like a hopeful
Rookie.
fan that happens to
Yeah,
get powers. Like
Yeah,
even with
yeah.
the Batman moment, hey, that's your symbol. Doesn't that mean we have to go? And then he's
I
like,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
that
Mhm.
means we have to go. But speaking of characters, now moving on, who is your favorite character out of the whole movie that you absolutely like? You love their story arc. You love what happened with them. What was your personal favorite? Starting with you, Vincent.
Here's what I got to say about characters in this movie. I am very excited for another Justice
Yeah.
League movie with. Okay, I hate to say it. I love you, Zack Snyder, but with a different director who can bring these characters to life. Because I thought every
Right,
single character is still super one note in the
right.
Justice League. I don't feel like there is arcs. Cyborg stays, oh, I'm a pouty guy throughout the whole thing. Yes, he gets
Right.
sad about his dad at one point, Flash is still the same character, Wonder Woman's the same character, Batman's the same character. Everybody's the same throughout the whole movie. I will say though, I really like the Superman in the field scene when he's talking to Lois and his mom. Like that
A little
part
more
got me. I
depth.
was like, oh, that's cool. Like this conversation is like important to all three of these characters, and that was like an important character scene to me that stood out. But I really think that they could make these characters so much better, just with different scenarios and a different movie and kind of thing. I just the characters are weak in Justice League still to me, but
Okay.
they have so much potential,
Mhm.
so much potential.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here right before I let Ryder speak. I'm gonna completely disagree with you
Good,
personally.
do it. Yeah, do it.
I personally thought that these characters, they don't necessarily need to have big ass arcs because they're already
Sure.
established characters. Like everybody knows Batman, everybody knows Wonder Woman. You don't need to flesh out their backstory as much because they're already these big superheroes. We want to see them fighting. We want to see the action
Mhm.
scenes. Personally, if I had to choose my
Mhm.
own favorite character, it has to be Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf in this movie
Yeah.
absolutely is brought
Damn,
out as a
okay, alright.
villain.
No, he is. Yeah.
You kind of fall in love with his story arc because you're like, oh, I love the hunt for the mother boxes, and he's trying to redeem himself with Darkseid. He's trying to get back on his good side because clearly he fell out of the fold. And I love the mother boxes because even they have like this little board thing, and every time he puts a mother box in, that
Yeah.
little like ghoul side character
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
out,
yeah.
like
The
right hand
minion,
man
yeah,
to
yeah.
Darkseid,
The Sod,
and he's
whatever.
just like, yeah, and he's just like, what can you tell me that it happened? And it's just like you get this sense of accomplishment
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single time the villains even move forward in their plan. You know, he puts the mother box in, and then the little shield comes out, and he's like,
Yeah.
the fort has been fortified, and it's just like you get these epic moments. But I we'll talk about it in a second, a little bit deeper.
Mhm.
But Ryder, go ahead and talk about who your favorite character was.
I mean, for me, obviously, I think a little standout was, I guess, more Cyborg because they kind of brought a little more backstory to him. But I think
Absolutely.
character-wise, I'm gonna agree with you, Vincent, but I agree with Aquaman, right? I think Aquaman still feels a little 1-0 because I know they're fleshing out with Mera, but I think it's complicated when you have the Aquaman film and the stories kind of clash and it's a little weird.
Right.
I think, I don't know, maybe I just haven't put it together a lot, but I think that Aquaman still feels kind of like, why is he there? I know he's kind of doing it because his mom and he's supposed to be a protector, but he feels a little the most standout for me, like
Sure.
wrong standout. But I think for me, the Barry Allen, the Flash, yeah, it isn't a lot of like lines. It isn't a lot of dialogue that really sets him up. But when he's talking about his father and what his motivation is to get him out, like
Man.
going back in time, he was like, "Hey, Dad, that was me." Like
That
I
is
don't know,
cool.
I took it as that was me, as in I thought he was one of the Flash with the Reverse Flash when his mom died. Like he was there, like he was like, "Dad, it was me." Like I was one of those. I don't know, but that's probably thinking too much into it. But I think he's a character for me that stood out because of who he was and what he was talking about with his father. And then of course
Yeah.
Steppenwolf too. Like yeah, I agree. Steppenwolf could like have cliche villain dialogue, but also when you kind of take the time to deep dive into it, it's like, wow, he really is like a pouty guy trying to really make amends with his ruler, his master. He was like, am I good? Did I do good? Can I go home now? No, you can't. Like, oh dang it, he keeps getting picked
Right.
on. Even the
Right.
assistant was like, I told you he'd fail. Like, God, poor guy.
Yeah, I know.
And to bounce off that too, it's like I feel like if I was comparing a bunch of different villains across different media,
Mhm.
I would say Steppenwolf is a bad villain. But in comparison to like other DC movies and stuff, like he's a
More
good
the better
villain.
ones.
So it's
Okay.
like
In the DC,
so
yeah. Okay.
in the DC world, he was fine to me. But like comparing him to a bunch of Marvel villains or like something
Yeah,
like that,
okay.
there's so many better villains out there.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that was just me.
Okay.
But he's better than in the theatrical cut for sure.
Personally, I think that he kind of stands out because he's a mercenary, right? He
Mhm.
plays the mercenary role well. And what I love about his character is it actually feels like you're fighting against somebody who's at the same level as our heroes. It's not like
Mhm.
it's like not always overpowered. It's not
Mm.
always, the good guys are winning. It seemed like a very balanced
Yeah.
fight, which
Yeah.
I really liked. And then when Cyborg comes in, it's like the game changes. And
Mm.
we'll get into that in a second, like I said. But first of all, let's talk about anything that stood out to you guys, any Easter eggs, any little details that you guys saw while watching this movie. Let's go ahead and start with you, Vincent.
I mean, I guess the Easter egg or small detail that I love the most was the little section at the end with Joker and Slade Wilson or Deathstroke.
Mm.
That was awesome. I am a
Yeah.
huge Deathstroke fan, so like that was dope to see. Even if it
Yeah.
goes absolutely nowhere, you know what I mean? Because it might not.
Right.
They might not do anything, but regardless, that was a cool scene to see. And I would love to see that come to life with
Mhm.
Ben Affleck's Batman in the separate world, not the
Yeah, yeah.
Robert Pattinson Batman
Mhm.
world. Keep that separate. Keep that its own
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Don't
Mhm.
let that
Right.
cross. Yeah.
Right. What you writing?
Let's see. For me, I think it's. I mean, I guess kind of the time travel and stuff, but not that that's an Easter egg. For me, yeah, I'd have to say the ending as well because I think when I saw the Flash in that suit, I recognized that from the scene in Batman vs Superman to when he time travels. You know, the Lois Lane is the key when he's talking to Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, that I know it's like getting close to that. And it's like, man, I bet this third movie, all hell breaks loose. And it's like, you got to go back, Flash. So there's Easter eggs there you can kind of put together. Martian Manhunter's kind of cool. I'm not too familiar with the character, but I know who he is. So I was like, oh, nice. That's a cool appearance. Any like little details. The black suit on Superman, I think was great. I'm glad that they had the black suit instead of the regular colored suit. That's really for me.
I did love that so much.
Yeah, there was a yeah. Oh, and of course, this is my last detail. When he was walking through the ship, and both of his dads they play a VO of when their dads are like, "You can be the beacon, son," and they play the music,
Right.
the Man of Steel, and it's like, oh, it's so
Yeah,
good. So
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good detail.
I do like that.
I was like, Kevin Costner, yes. But that's it for me.
Mhm.
Personally, my favorite little detail out of this whole movie was Steppenwolf talking shit to Diana the whole movie, and then she gets that
Oh.
final like head chop.
Yeah,
And I was like,
forgot
I was
about
like,
that.
Steppenwolf, fuck around, mess with Diana. She's gonna chop off your
Don't
freaking
do
head,
that.
dude. She
Oh,
just
that's
was
so
like,
cool.
and it's such an epic moment how the head
Mhm.
just rolls onto Darkseid, and Darkseid's
Yeah.
just looking down at them like, you mother, like he's
Yeah,
just
he's
so
so
angry. He's
mad.
like, ugh. And we get a little Thanos moment from him because he turns around, he's like, I'll have to do it myself,
Yeah, yeah.
basically.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of cool. Moving on though, because this movie had so many fight sequences and so much action in it. I'm curious to know, what was your favorite fight sequence out of the whole movie?
Okay. Oh,
We're gonna start with Ryder if you want. Ryder.
yeah, for me, man, that ending sequence, I know it's the obvious one. It's they fixed the colors, the hue shift, they fixed the beats, and there was
Thank
more
God.
motivation to
Yeah.
why they were there and why they were splitting the boxes. It was it seemed not really short, but it was a very straightforward plan on what they were trying to do. It wasn't like, oh, all these crazy, like, yeah, they were the parademons, but there was just, hey, I gotta get in there, split the boxes, that's it, And so it was very easy to understand on what those boxes were doing and what the battle is, And so I think they balanced out Steppenwolf and all the characters getting their moments. It was lengthened out, where of course Wonder Woman could shine, Aquaman with his trident, and all the great things. And
Definitely.
then the appearance of Superman, that's such a fixed, more better, the CGI where he's punching and blowing his, freeze breath and all that cool stuff. I think the whole end sequence really fleshed out. Is such a strong finale to this film, man. Such a strong finale. So,
What about you, Vincent?
I would agree the final fight scene because specifically when I watched like the theatrical cut, the Josh Whedon cut, I was so ready for the movie to be over
Mhm.
way before the final sequence even happened. I'm like, I'm done. Like let's
Yeah.
just get this going. I'm like half paying attention at this point. Could care less about what's happening at the end. I was like, this is garbage. But watching this, I'm like invested enough to care what's going on. And so I just loved the shot where the camera's down low in Steppenwolf's POV and it's Superman just beating the
Oh.
absolute crap out of him.
Yeah,
And he just
yeah.
laser punch, laser
Yeah,
punch,
that's
punch.
sick.
I'm like, that is what's up.
Yeah.
I love that. I also enjoyed the R rating in this movie, but they completely wasted the R rating by not having enough blood, I would say.
Mhm.
Like and only like what, two
Two
F-bombs or something
F-bombs,
like
which-
that.
which
And
were
one of them was Cyborg
really good
and it
use.
sucked. I
What?
hated
You
the
like?
Cyborg
Oh,
one.
that was funny.
But
I
the
liked it.
Batman one at the end was really good. But I feel like they could have gone a little bit even more intense. Like I like the decapitation and stuff, but they could have really made Steppenwolf like
Bloody.
a little bit like a little bit more
Just
crazy.
gnarly.
And
yeah.
that would have made me even more in on Steppenwolf because they like kind of teeter on the edge of like Steppenwolf's crazy, he'll do anything, bro. And then you're like,
Oh,
I don't
man.
know, I haven't really seen much. I haven't really seen him
He
do
chopped the
anything.
dude in half, but I don't know.
Right. He tortured some Atlanteans, but it's not enough for Vincent. I get
It wasn't enough. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
enough
Get
for
it.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Personally, my favorite fight sequence was the first battle when they all kind of come together and they defeat Steppenwolf when Cyborg
yeah.
joins in. And it's like you get this really awesome sequence where finally the good guys kind of have that overall edge. Like we might have a chance
doing it,
here
yeah.
to defeat it, And then he sets off the dam with the water, and then Aquaman comes in. Boom! I can only hold this for so long. He doesn't say that, but it's implied. It's just such a great sequence, and I would say it's tied between that one and then when Superman comes back and he starts fighting the Justice League, and it's like
Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
was
was
cool.
I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was
oh
cool.
man, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Like, yes, someone just came back from the dead. They don't know who he is. And even Wonder Woman, Kal-El, try to figure it out. Kal-El, we're your friends. And then Lois comes in and it's like,
It's improved.
don't hurt them. Like, let's get out of there. And it made me feel more genuine in the whole experience, because I was like, this feels more grounded, more real in their world, not just I'm back, I'm Superman, let's go fight the villains. You know, he has to go to the farm. He has to go realize who his past was. I used to love being here, he says. And that moment, he finally realizes, you know, I'm Clark Kent, but I'm also Superman.
Yep.
Oh man, there's so many great moments. Getting closer to the end of this video, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope that you will leave a like for this review and subscribe if you haven't. But would you guys want a sequel? Let's say in a perfect world, HBO, AT&T says Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder's into it.
Yeah.
Would he, if he was open to doing a sequel, they had the script, they had the backing, would you guys want it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off. I mean, I would like a sequel. I just, again, Zack Snyder makes very specific movies, and I don't know if I want another one of Zack Snyder's style Justice League. Like, this was good, and I'm glad he got to realize his vision. I'm super happy that he got the opportunity to do that, because that is so dope. But again, if the characters are going to stay this one note and it's going to stay another villain like this, I'm a little over it. But they have so many cool threads that they can work on for the next Justice League. So, like, that's awesome. Like, maybe if Zack Snyder produces and maybe someone else directs and stuff, like, that would be dope. But I'm in for a sequel. I'll watch it. I had such a great time with this. I'm for sure gonna watch another one.
I am 100% in for a sequel of Zack Snyder. I personally, Zack Snyder, yeah, it's that specific taste. You either you hate it or you love it. Me personally, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, and even shoot, what's that movie with not Watch Dogs, the
300.
Oh yeah, 300, as well as another movie,
Watchmen.
Watchmen. I don't know, man.
I love Watchmen.
So stupid that I went blank on that. I'm sorry, my mind's everywhere. But yeah, those style of movies, man, they're so like ridiculous, kind of, but in a great way, and then they're so gritty, and I love his tone. And with the Justice League, I think it's such a gritty. Yeah, there are flaws in a movie or whatever, that you can look into, but I personally love his style of the Justice League, and I just want more of this, and. Yeah, I would like the characters to be more fleshed out, or I want this or that. But yeah, another sequel with his vision, like the finale of whatever is going to come with Darkseid and the big Thanos, to beat him. Oh, man, I would just give me more, But
well, also just like what you said, dynamic. Like, I want more dynamic characters, not even fleshed out characters. Like, because we know the characters, but like characters that like change a little bit or something. Like, there's a little bit of even in the dialogue or the way they handle things, like something to surprise us, I guess.
And I don't mind that it's a separate universe. Like, I want Robert Pattinson's Batman, and give me a spin-off of that, and give me a show, but then give me Justice League, and then give me another Ben Affleck Batman. Like, just keep going. Like, DC, you're fine that you're all over the place. I love that. Just give me different incarnations. I'm fine. I'm gonna watch it all. Give me a new Joker. Give me Jared Leto. If it's like well done, like Zack Snyder kind of did even better in that scene. But you know what I mean? Like, just keep doing it. I like the differentness.
Awesome. Well, I would love a sequel. I think it's great. Before I wrap us up here and we get to our closing thoughts, I want to play a little game with you guys. It's just going to involve you guys putting a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm going to go through a couple of moments here in the movie, and I just want to know whether you guys like that moment or you guys disapprove. It's going to be really fast. It's going to be a throwaway. Here we go. I know, that's why it's fun to go. Okay. I have a couple specific moments here. We're going to start off with Wonder Woman's opening, her intro into this movie. She's coming in with the bling, bling, with the bomb. What do you approve, disapprove? What do you thumbs up? You're medium on it. Personally, I really love that.
I freaking loved it, and then I hated how she moved through the scene, like this fast, like jittery thing. I was like, this sucks. I was like, that's terrible. But the scene is so much better paced out, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Throwback battle. I know we discussed it a little bit, but I also want to include the explanation of the mother boxes and Diana going into the past. I personally really love that. I thought that was great.
I give a huge thumbs up for that one. Huge.
Okay. Barry Allen's intro. I know we've discussed it a little bit. Loved, right?
Yeah, I give love. Yeah.
Okay. Steppenwolf is awesome. Would you agree?
Steppenwolf's awesome.
He's over here a little bit.
I'm all thumbs up. Yeah.
What about Aquaman saving Mira after Mira kind of drained Steppenwolf? That was a cool moment.
I'm sorry.
Aquaman just showing up and bling, it's kind of stopping him from killing his girl. I personally like that.
I'm gonna go like down because I don't care for Mira at all.
You didn't like her. Okay. What about Commissioner Gordon? Gordon?
Huge up.
J.K. Simmons, are you kidding? Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. The first battle, like I mentioned, when they defeat Steppenwolf, thoughts?
I'd go half. I know it's it's being critical, but I'll go half for that one.
Okay. How about the moment when Cyborg says, when they're talking about the mother box, is like, whoa, where is the third mother box? And then he comes in, he doesn't have it. I
Are you,
do.
yeah. I'll
Oh,
give you a thumbs up. I give you a thumbs up.
yeah. Okay. We're on the same fine.
That's
Okay,
cool. I was like,
I
oh,
got a couple here left. The freeze frame shot on the attack on the Unity towards the end of the movie, where you kind of get this Batman on the Batmobile,
oh,
the trident, the
double,
lasso
Oh,
flying.
double
of
thumbs
course,
up.
of
That was
course.
it. Money
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
That's such a great shot.
Money shot. That's what I'm here for.
The inside of the Unity with Cyborg exploring his fear. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna
I
go
personally
down.
really like that.
I'm gonna go down
there.
as well.
You guys are going down on that? Okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
CG and plot
yeah.
wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. And then the chopping off of Diana's head.
Oh,
Or Steppenwolf's head.
Yeah.
can you imagine Wonder Woman dies? Yeah.
Double thumbs up. Well, she did.
She kind of did. She kind of did.
They showed it with
Yeah,
the
okay.
coin.
Barry
Low-key.
Allen and his jailed dad. What did you think of that little storyline that we touched on it a couple times,
Just give me
twice
more
I
of
think in the
that.
movie.
I want
Personally, I really love that.
Flashpoint
Great.
paradox. I want that. Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, Wonder
Deathstroke
Woman
and
dies
Lex
in this?
Luthor.
Did I miss that?
In the dream sequence when
Yeah.
Cyborg
Oh.
taps into it? She's
Everybody-
dead
yeah,
with
everybody's-
the Themyscira.
I was like, what the? I watched the movie. I don't remember that.
All right, we got two more here. Deathstroke and Lex Luthor planning. The real identity is Bruce Wayne. Let's drink.
Bring it up, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Bring
thumbs
it
up, but man, I would love to see a
Bring it
Deathstroke film.
up.
And then we're looking at the alternate reality timeline, the epilogue. We had Deathstroke, Mira,
Actually-
Batman, Cyborg, and Flash as the only survivors, with
I'm go-
Batman, with Superman being a villain because Lois is dead. What did you guys think of
I'm
that?
going half just because Mero was in that scene.
Oh
I'll
my
go like
God.
this because
but-
they literally didn't shoot any of those people on the same set, and you could tell that they couldn't shoot them on the same set. But
Yeah.
the dream sequence was cool, and
And
I didn't mind Jared Leto's Joker. I was like,
okay,
not
that was
bad,
my
not
last
bad.
one. That was my
Sorry.
last one. The overall thoughts on the Joker, and
Yeah,
then
that's great.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much it. That was just kind of some of the moments that stood out to me that I really enjoyed. Getting here to our closing thoughts. Personally, I'll go first. I love the music in this movie. Like the music, the edit, the CGI. Personally, like as a Justice League fan, as a personal fan of DC, they delivered on a promise I think Zack Snyder had all those years ago when he first teased this film in Batman versus Superman. Very much loved every moment of it. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 kind of small, like 2-minute sequences where I kind of phased out, but for the most part, my mind was engaged into this film, watching the whole thing, looking at every detail. Ryder, what are your thoughts?
Little things like the CGI, I think was practically perfect for me. I could tell like, oh, you could tell it's CGI, but when it's just perfect CGI, it's like there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's great. Even though the green screen, like I could tell it's green screen, but it was a lot better to where I was like, okay, I can shift that out. I think the pacing was so great. I was so engaged. The story was awesome, very clear, and overall, I'm very satisfied that Zack Snyder got to complete his cut because this is what I wanted. I loved the Zack Snyder films. And that first one, disappointed me. And I'm so happy that I wasn't like thinking about it throughout all these years. So to have this now was like, oh man, this is like a brand new present randomly, And so I'm here
Right.
and I enjoyed it, man, 100%. And who knows what the future will hold with DC now with all these positive reviews. But I loved it.
Absolutely. Vincent?
Yeah, it was just a huge improvement from the original Justice League. Like, I can't sit here and say it's like a 10 out of 10 movie, best movie I've ever seen, but I had such a good freaking time with it. I was like, I didn't need this, but I'm glad we have it. And I watched it, and it made Darkseid feel like he could become a Thanos level villain of
Absolutely.
the DC universe. Who knows if we'll get that or not, but it made me feel like that's a possibility. It gave me more threads to be excited for future movies. And I just had fun watching it. Again, pacing was a huge thing for me on the first one that failed, and this one really brought it. So I was glad. It was good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on this review of the Snyder Cut. Justice League is over. It's here and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, the hype was so high. I watched the movie, I fell in love, and now it's over. We hope that you guys enjoyed this review. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. We know us Justice League fans gotta
there it
stick
is.
together.
Wow.
Gotta love that Justice
Love it.
League. Gotta love Superman. Gotta love the Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg. Hopefully we get a Green Lantern in the future. So excited for the DCEU.
Yeah.
Stick around here at Strictly Casual. Check out some of our other videos if you haven't. If you like movies and TV, check out Freeze Frame. If you like gaming, check out Checkpoint. We love making videos for you, and we hope that you've enjoyed this review, and we'll see you guys on the next one.